Okay, so this is going to be my new game, speedrun tutorial of Labyrinth of Refrain, Coven of Dusk. Going to try to pack as much information I can while we watch this run. We'll probably end up skipping over some portions. Hopefully we won't be skipping over any portions, like content-wise, just in terms of like the video. Right off the bat, playing the game in English audio will actually save about 10 seconds right on the starting screen. The tutorial is pretty simple. It's basically just making tutorials go away. There are 4 battles you can get. Ideally, you want 0 of the random battles, but you're not always that lucky. Your usual ending time should generally be before 2 minutes. If you get after 2 minutes, you either had like a really unlucky go of it, or it was like mildly bad play. This is pretty self-explanatory. Just running through here. Okay. Now we are going to be making puppets. We are going to be making 2 mages and 1 tank. Our mages are going to be our damage workhorses, while our tank is actually going to be contributing a decent bit through Campanula and Astrum. After that he falls off, since he's not very good with a spear. It is just like or a lance. It's just that lances are very good early. But he will be getting a lance pretty early. And it is just for the things that do not really want to die to magic. Since the attack pact is not that great at clearing. Especially when there's like a limit of amulets to go around. Although in theory you could start 3 mages, should you choose to forego like the spear. Like that is definitely a decent or a viable option. Here we're going to go for the Blue Jewel quest item. There are 3 items that we're going to have to get before we can return, or before we will return. There's no reason to leave before completing all of our objectives. Grabbing as much mana as we can while we run around, because it is important, and speedrunning you are pretty mana starved. Alright. This is all pretty simple. Just a bunch of herding critters. We grab the soul there. That will be for our 4th puppet. We obtain the familiar documents. That is one of our 3 items required to talk to Droney again. More combat. We are probably upstairs now. Let's see where we are. Yeah, we are upstairs now. Okay, I did that maneuver because I was looking for a box that may or may not contain a silver spoon. I'm trying to get an early silver spoon in order to get a time save later. I don't believe I get a silver spoon in this run, which ends up losing me time on the 7th floor versus Tempest. So, but I'm trying to give myself as many opportunities as I possibly can to, to get one. I equipped the attack pact specifically for 1 fight that you can encounter in here, and it is the 5 wood faces. I forget what their name is. But like the 5 pieces of wood. That fight can take so long if you do not have the attack pact and can clear it in like 1 go. And that's one of the reasons why I get an early lance. Is just it deals with the single battles, and there are a good bit of single battles like right through this stretch, So just like in that corridor alone, it can save a little bit of time, in my opinion. But you do go a little bit out of your way to get it. It is foreseeable that someone would skip it. Right here, I'm turning the difficulty down to easy, and I am getting find more items, which is necessary for getting saltpeter and withered weeds. Okay, we are going back in. We acquired the third item. We unlocked the door. I guess you technically don't have to unlock that door. No, you do. Okay, I forgot what that switch was to. Now, you do have to hit that lock. Small mistake by me. I bumped into this thing before having the mage pact. Now we are grabbing our first mage pact. This puts us in brain dead mode. We can just pretty much auto clear any encounter that is more than one critter, and then anything that is one critter, my lance will just pick up. So it gives us a real easy brain dead strategy to like start the game out. Right here, we are going to give up and take our free trip back to base at the expense of mana and money. You don't have to repair there unless your lance arm is damaged or someone loses their head. But if you don't like take note or a really quick inventory of what popped off, it is just safer to like repair and not have to, you know, risk going in without like proper limbs and basically just at a disadvantage. We're going to be taking a weird route through here. We're going through this grate because I find it easier to navigate. You have a chance of fewer battles if you navigate that way, I am pretty sure. So that is why I take that route over going through the golem. I equipped the mud amulet there, I do believe. Before I gave up, so I didn't lose the mud amulet. Since the mud amulet is very valuable, we will be using it through the entire game because, well, it's strong. Okay. I forget. In my run, I forgot that I was doing weed farming. Right here, we need to collect 6 withered weeds and 10 saltpeter. And there is a rather important reason behind that. The saltpeter is to move along the story. The withered weeds are to clear an apprentice note that will get you potatoes. The potatoes are necessary for clearing the required apprentice note to get the sage key. There's a line of apprentice notes that will be unlocked sequentially that won't just be unlocked generally. That ends in the sage key, which is required for this run. So I believe it starts potatoes, it will go Edamaru's, cloudy cream Umbra wine. There might be one more item. And then there's incense. Oh, it's a witch's bell. Witch's bell and then incense. And collecting all of those items and giving them up in the Witch Apprentice notes will get you the Sage Key if you have done 24 unlocks. 24 unlocks are required to get the Sage's Key. So right there, I talked to the boatman. He speaks gibberish, and it is one of the triggers to get Dronia to advance. Even though it doesn't say talk to Dronia, because I haven't done the saltpeter yet, it will just stack and wait for later. So I'm just setting that up now. It is just convenient from the last point where I was getting, I believe, 1 body piece and 2 souls to make puppet 5 and 6. That the stairs are right next to it, so you can just go down to the 3rd floor from the last collection place to get to just go do these objectives. So I take this opportunity to go do these objectives. Going to make puppets. I should just be making 3 mages. All with the name Lucky for fortunate luck. Wise for mana. Sharp for increased strength. And strength and DMP. And starting with Donut Tenacity, I believe this run starts them all with Donut Tenacity. Yes, Tenacious Donut. And that is just for more Donut power. Throughout here, you can choose to or not to equip your puppets to your active brigade formations. Right now I'm taking that opportunity and doing that just so they get slightly more EXP. They won't get much before Astrum, but they'll get a little. More than likely. Unless I have a flawless run to Domina. Now we're just going back to some very, very boring wheat farming. Right when the saltpeter's finished is a very important point. It is when you will be able to get mud exits. And mud exits, as I'm sure anyone who's played this game knows, very valuable. So this is just going to be a bit of farming. I can bravely scooch this forward. I think wheat farming ends pretty soon. Man, is my wheat farm really this long? Okay. Yeah, we get leave Labyrinth at will. Report to Dronia. This is just after the saltpeter was collected. We get leave Labyrinth at will. This is going to very immediately be incorporated into our routing. We're going to go to the 2nd floor. We're going to drop a mud exit immediately. If I were paying attention. Then we're going to plow through this wall, since it is slightly quicker. And we will be revisiting that in a second. We're going to go down to the 3rd floor and talk to the man with the boat. He is going to give us the Iron Mattock, which we need to get to Domina. You could forego the Mattock. And basically just break through the wall, drop down, talk to Domina, and extort the lamp out of her. But that sets you up to fight the Fairy King later. I believe, this hasn't been like thoroughly tested, that it is faster just to going to hit give up here again, just so I have both of my exits down. I believe it's faster to get the spear and take the time save from the spear rather than fight the Fairy King. Just is a little bit more messing around, but I believe it to be cleaner. Okay, give that guy the Mattock. fall through the floor. We got another mage pack there with our little running through the walls. Grabbing some mana. Always try and grab all the mana we can see. It's pretty hard to grab it off the walls in this area, unless you have really good eyes for like what mana looks like here. Going to the spear, dropping anchor. We have to make sure that we equip both the spear and the fairy pendant that we got from the guy with the Maddock, or the guy that we gave the Maddock to. We off ourselves. Now we can repair. That was the last time that we will be using that. Hopefully this run. I do believe it is the last time. I don't believe I run out of witch spells past here. We return to 1, talk to Domina. Now that we've removed the rusty spear, she will give us all of the items we desire, including 1 nice amulet, which we will probably be equipping before our next boss. We might exit out, go back to the boat guy who we had set up earlier. Grab the mana bomb. We don't need to. You wander across enough mana bombs, but it is safer. Grab the Campanula key. Grab that treasure barrel. That treasure barrel is actually pretty important to getting puppets. What? We are at 6. Puppets 7 through 9. You don't, however, need to get that the cape that I just picked up. The Campanula cape that I just picked up. That one is definitely optional. I choose to pick it up because it makes it can often have a good amount of mana on it, which will help from like the end of Astrum into Umbra, since you just do not run across that much equipment. Nice thing about having the Rusty Spear here is that it is enough hit that it's guaranteed to hit gnomes, whereas not everyone is guaranteed to hit gnomes since they have such high speed. Anyone, I believe almost anyone, wielding the Rusty Spear. So that is another plus of running the Rusty Spear. It is mostly just hitting major objectives and item clearing, or an objective clearing. That one. I can English, I swear. So we're going to be clearing the next 3 gnome encounter, or the next, or I guess I'm down to 2 gnome encounters now. Pick up this flame amulet, that is important. Not something like I'm going to be skipping. Because going around is just slower. Putting on the flame amulet now, just so I have the added damage against the statue coming up. Grab that witch amulet. That witch amulet is not necessary. However, I believe I end up using it later to get more mana, since it can be disenchanted for like 1.2 grand in mana. And with how tight our mana is, it's just nice to have. And you're going to be over there anyway, getting the olive branch, even though it's pretty arguable that you don't even like need the olive branch. You're very likely to get it from other means, either in the first dungeon from those logs, or in this dungeon while you're farming. I'm taking the time to put on those 2 mage packs I acquired earlier. I keep the attack pack on because it has the blunt attack, the blunt magic. I believe it's Rock Crusher. That's it. Use mud on the statue because it is one of its 2 weaknesses. As long as you're not trying to burn the thing, you'll be doing decent damage. Pretty simple fight. There's nothing really that can go wrong, unless like you somehow manage to get like massively gore crit across your entire team, but that would have to be so horribly rare. Or that has to be so horribly rare. Okay. Tendering on the S from east, we pick up a Witch's Bell there, even though we could go straight through the wall. We choose to take that little bit of a snaking path just to grab that Witch's Bell. That'll stop us from exploding ourselves into pieces and losing more mana. Just clearing out mobs on our way to our farming area. And we are going to stop the farm here. There is, what, 1, 2, 3? There are 4 items that we're looking for here. Conquer Leaf, Bread Sandwich, Toy Jewel, and Toy Sword. Oh, also Agent Black. If you can get any 4 of those, or more like if you can get any 3 of those and you consider the 2 toys to be 1 item. You want any 3 of those before you can continue. That, in my opinion, and my experience running the game, is generally the threshold you need to meet, because a lot of the early unlocks come from Astrum. Astrum is actually very key to getting a solid run going. Making, I believe, 2 more tanks and 1 more mage, and then we will be equipping witch packs, witch troop packs. Keeping with the same theme as earlier, all of our tanks are cookie cutter, all of our mages are cookie cutter. There's really no massive changes. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Skip forward again. It's just farming. Alright, let's see where we are. Grab that Magdagora Balm. Then we're making our way towards the ambush. Since we've cleared Dronia's dialogue. Dronia's dialogue is required. The dialogue in which she gives you the 3 packs. Oh, one thing I might not have said. Is the treasure barrel from earlier I sold in order to buy puppet parts for 7 through 9. I believe that's all that happened. Yeah, that should be most of all that happened. I don't do my apprentice notes yet. I am going to save them until Melm. Even though there are some goodies in there. This is a really straightforward fight. You'll be here under level, so it should never try to run from you. Should pretty much always try to blow you to bits. Real simple fight, just go all in. There is something pretty important immediately after, which is dropping a mud exit. That will be getting Pecos back later, and I believe Pecos back to be pretty dang good, considering it's your first opportunity for tier 2 spells. The only downside to Pecos is that it is very expensive to use, and can require some playing around within combat, swapping out members for mana reasons. A little bit of a hassle, but is, I believe, worth it. although I've been testing going without it and just running a basic Mage Pact. Is something to experiment with, at least. Saves about a minute. So, it's something to toy with, at least. Right here, we're taking this path specifically to grab that pumpkin lamp. You do not have to take that particular pathing through there. Here we are going to grab Gnome's Blood. That is a key item for later. Will be part of Melm's questline. I don't believe there are any items between us and Peiko. No, at least not important. You can disenchant that shot glass too for more mana. Around this area, if you've hit a lot of battles, your mana can get kind of tight, and you can actually end up losing some time. That's why you saw me swapping around some members. It was because I felt like my mana was getting too tight. And I didn't want to end up running out of mana on any of the statues and wasting turns and time. Moving things around again. That's not ideal having to move things around twice, but it's definitely better than like just running out and having to beat a statue to death. Okay, we're going to drop a meta exit and use that witch's bell we grabbed earlier to return back to base. This is mostly to just restore our mana. We're also going to take the time to equip our characters here. Since if we do it within the labyrinth, it won't update our mana values, and we'll go into Peiko's fight without full mana, which is suboptimal, so. Anyway. Peiko's fight is pretty simple. Spam mud until the thing in front disappears. I don't believe Peiko has any resistances to anything other than, I think, Pierce. So, I guess she's resistant to Slash and Pierce. Okay. Ooh, that's an unlucky crit. But yeah, we're pretty much just spamming mud until the thing in front disappears, then we spam our highest damage. You could play this fight pretty all in. If you want to go conservative on the first few turns with your tanks, it's not a horrible idea. It can save you from losing one of your mages like this run did. That is Peiko's fight. This is a pretty simple fight. I haven't had it go super wrong yet, unless I had things in my front line, or I was using things that didn't have amulets. Missing amulets, missing mana, missing damage. It makes you sad. Now we double back for Pecos. Poor Peco was lobotomized. And they lobotomized her in no time flat. They didn't even have moral qualms about it. Yeah, but less commentary. Get Pecos packed. We're going to hold on to it, since there isn't much combat in the early part of Melm. We're going to wait to get Frail packed, another one of our very key packs. Before we do all our menuing. Sorry about that yawning. I'm sure that will sound beautiful on the recording. We're going to place this mud portal very specifically, and I'm pretty sure you'll figure out why as I run around. This is the Enamaru farm. This is the second item required after potatoes in the quest line to get the sages, so we have to do this. There's no way around this. The only thing that you can really do to make this better is to do your Enamaru farm after you've done Melm. So you have all of Melm to try to get the 2 Enamarus that the game doesn't just give you. Because you need 3 Enamarus. Which basically means you need 2 off the ground or from drops. And there's 1 in a chest after the boss. So, I take this opportunity to farm Enamarus, mostly because I do not want to put my Enamaru farm farther and like deeper into my run. Even though it could hurt potential time saves. It is just one of the... This is like one of the run killers. If you have a good Enamaru split, which both my current PB and this run are going to have, racing against good Enamaru splits is the worst. So I personally put it really as early in my run as like I can do. I try to do that with all of my farming. Because you can do the same thing with Withered Weeds. It's not really as viable for Astrum, since that area is just as free as it is. I mean, unless you ended up with a 3rd portal, but I don't, like, not with my current routing do I see a way to have that much mana. Like, you may have one run in, like, 30 that has that much mana. Maybe 1 in 50 runs that has that much mana. So I personally don't think it's, like, super... not something that I would look for in Ostrom. But it's definitely viable for Campanula and this place. No. Anyway, I believe it's my next run. Yeah, that finished my Enamaru. I'm going down my apprentices and just finishing literally as many as I can. Grabbing the goodies out. Duchess Gown, not a bad pickup right there. If you don't get the Wind Cutting Remix, that gives you the 12 puppet parts, you can actually end up spending a pretty penny on those. Which is always unfortunate, but it happens. Oh, and then the game gives me another Enamaru seed to taunt me. Okay, now we're going to go back to objectives. We have to go poke all 3 tunnels in order to get Dronia to give us the Explosion Stone. going to draft a portal there, just so it's slightly faster to get back there. By this point, if you've been farming mana while you farmed Anamaros, you should have 3 portals. Although you don't need 3 portals from Elm, it is just a nice thing to grab. But something you can definitely forgo until later. There are a decent bit of items on the ground. So if someone chooses to go about a strategy where they wait on their Anamaros, and then Anamaro farm until like the end of Melm, it's definitely like a respectable approach. I'm gonna hop out here, talk to Dronia. Also fixing one of our mistakes is Frail Pact and Pego's Pact are being equipped. And there's something that I got as a random drop. And it was the Tactician's Pact. The Tactician's Pact I find to be a very good item. Not mandatory for finishing the run. Especially since it is like a slow pact, technically, since it has a charge time. But for certain scenarios, mainly being rocks, and I'm actually going to reverse this. So right here, if you walk like 3 spaces to the north and go down the stairs, there's a Tactician's Pact right at the bottom of that stairs, 1 space up and 1 space left. And you can very quickly grab that if you did not get it during your Anamaro farm like I did. Okay, we're going to be grabbing a key item here, Preserved Liver. That is for questing purposes. Continue making our way through Melm as fast as humanly possible. Right here, we are going to pause. Make sure that ogre isn't staring right at the door. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble really quick if you don't pay the ogres their due. Really quick battle. The nice thing about this battle is that being a mini-boss, it actually counts for a lot more EXP towards your packed EXP. So it's a nice little thing. I actually don't lament having to do this fight, especially since it's so fast. Okay, we're going to be grabbing our first silver spoon. And then we're getting sad because we had to fight Ogre. So, anyone who doesn't know, or hasn't read the text to Silver Spoons, when you pop a Silver Spoon, dots can no longer spawn. If you pop them right before you go up or down a set of stairs into a different area, it will stop the entire area from spawning, and we're going to be abusing that later. We are also going to be grabbing a soul here. We have a lot of puppets to make. Grab every readily available soul we can. Although I could probably route in more souls to have to do less disenchanting. It's not something I've done right now. We're taking this back way so we can grab an item really quick. That is this red mantle. Nice little item to have for defense. Gives a little bit of offense. Grab that treasure barrel. That's an unnecessary treasure barrel. You mostly grab it for the soul value because you no longer need money by this point after you've sold the first treasure barrel. Unless you have a really interesting route that I'm not sure about. I drop here just because it is faster than taking the stairs, and could possibly save you from 2 battles if you're not lucky. Make sure to affirm the text there. Then we're going to be doing another drop here. Mugwort Bomb for safety since my HP wasn't looking so great. Lose most of my party. Another soul. Then we're going to be dropping a Muddy there, grabbing some items, grabbing a little mana, and leaving. That is to set up for the Dung Worm. Push the story along to the point where you can fight the Dung Worm. Equipping the anklet we just got. Redoing the pre-boss equip check, which you don't have to do before the Dung Worm. It is purely optional. But I chose to do it here. This is another boss where you can just go all in. You can do this on a lot of the early bosses. Fire does wonders here. Stabbing does wonders here. We have a lot of the tools we need to just blow this thing to bits. And now, with the timing that we took back to base, we have really good both HP and mana for this ogre. This ogre's generally not a problem. You can do this with, like, after taking a single fall, and just running through here, and that used to be my old strategy. But now I prefer just pairing the worm and the ogre for safety. It just puts you in a really good spot, in my opinion. Make sure to drop the mud exit back there for coming back after I have all 3 of the items requested by Jorno. Grab the switch over there, unlocks the door that my mud portal back there is facing. Forgetting about that switch can make you really sad. Or not super sad, I guess, as long as you have a mud portal in the area, but it never feels good to miss stuff. Anyway, time for gobs of time loss. We got slugs. Oh, I only get 1 slug here. Yeah, getting a double void on these slugs is really a real feel good. Honestly, I've considered that, like, some of the, like, 7 slug fights are just, like, should probably just be a reset if you're in a bad position. Or at very least, leaving the area and coming back. This is all pretty simple. Go to location, collect the item. There's a set of Star Runner boots. Those are pretty good. Right next to where Nelda was standing in Astrum 2. We give Joni the items. She stops playing with the sheep. Yeah. Pretty much just racing through this. Another part where you have to pay the ogres their due. I hit the wall 1 time right there. And I poke the wall a bit here. And here. Here you can choose to get a Sanity Mirror. It was just back there to the left. I chose not to on this run. It's not absolutely mandatory. It can just save you if you've been having bad luck with Abyss on either this fight or the final boss. And yes, I have actually grabbed that item before to save it all the way to the final boss. Burning rocks. This is going to be a lot of the same. Oh, there's one thing. Okay. We finished up that area. Yeah, we grabbed the Hell Helm. We're generally low on helmets by this point. Yeah. We kill those. These Dark Larva actually have a chance of dropping. It's not the Tactician's Pact. Oh my, what is the pack they drop? My first ever, like, new game speedrun. I got it. Recon Pact, I think. Recon Pact is pretty good. If you get a Recon Pact, it is definitely a really good option for your physical damage slot, which for me is my 4th slot. I like to keep a physical damage option. Just because mage isn't always the most fantastic thing, or element isn't always the most fantastic thing. Mages are always fantastic. Yeah. Another instance of giving the ogres their due. Running and talking. I can probably skip forward here. Oop. I back right in front of the boss for more mana. Also, I didn't mention getting the antechamber back there. I get the antechamber just so I, definitely don't have to come back to it. Pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, that was important. It wasn't just me dumbassing around. Doing equipment. Do a go over my equipment, and then back into Melm. There are 2 jitterbugs on either side of this boss, which is kind of nice. This boss, outside of sheer crappy drop luck, is potentially your first game over point. It doesn't happen horribly often, but he can just full wipe you with auto kills if you're unlucky. I've had it happen on maybe 2 of my runs, and I've had maybe close to 2 dozen runs to this point. And I tend to take this fight as an all-in fight with my warriors until they hit about this much health. Once they get a little chunked, I put them on the defensive. But I do play them offensive usually for the first part of this fight. Says the Rusty Spear can cause poison and all that silly stuff. So that is Melm finished. Right up behind here we have the Anomarus. I grabbed them even though I have 3, just out of habit. And we should have made Puppet 10 by now. That's one thing that I should have done previously. I'm not doing it now. Right here is a good opportunity to disassemble some of your Oh, it's 1.32. Huh. I forgot about that. Or maybe I never knew about that. We're going to also take this opportunity to grab some souls. We took our mana and plopped it up over 12k, just so we could get our 4th portal. 4th portal is a nice little convenience thing for Astrum. Or Verdant Phenom, sorry, not Astrum. It means we don't have to blow our head off or use Witch's Bells. Although there is a pretty free Witch's Bell, really. It's just something I routed in. As, like, just per my preferences. I couldn't get enough. I didn't have enough for more puppet storage. Which is something I'll be grabbing later to mass produce puppets. You only need, I believe, 10 puppets to fill what is your active party, and 11 puppet to put behind Pecos. And then, if you're really silly lucky, like I believe this run is, it was this run or my 151. Got really good luck and got a second Lucky Pact by trading in a Celestial Globe after getting my Sage Key. But I would never count on that. Getting a Celestial Globe is just pretty unlikely. I've only ever gotten it in one run. Although I've only ever finished like 4 runs, so not a horribly large sample size either. But yeah, like the most you'll ever need is like 12 built puppets. The rest of the puppets I build after that are just for the Donut Master ability. We're going to be running 2 Lamiodon. Nothing really special here. It's just an issue of getting to Bagworm. Setting some good mud portals and getting the Muddy Pact, which I just collected. Not going to be equipping that until later. Although, is your second instance of getting, or I guess at this point, my 3rd instance of getting tier 3 spells. But Mud isn't really good through this area. It just doesn't give you anything. Which you would kind of expect it not to, thematically. Now we go talk to Baggy. Hello, Bagworm. Drop some muds. Now we are going to trigger Lamiodon by talking to the fairy, or talking to what would be a fairy. It gets launched. Reset a portal here for the caterpillar train. And now we go to Lamiodon. On the way, if you didn't pick up a camphor leaf, there is one right there. Just kind of hiding out in the corner. Waiting 1 turn right there as you do your walk in Lamiodon's Asylum can usually skip that battle. Sometimes it'll get stuck in random fucking places, but usually you can just kind of skip that. Anyway, Lamiodon, you can just go full ape drug retard. No real fear of repercussions. It's just going to poison you unless you catch some atrocious gore hit lock. I've never lost a puppet to Lamudon. The worst part about Lamudon is the poison taking up as much time as it does, but it is what it is. That's Lamudon done? Yeah. This is where the real bosses of this game come in. Or maybe in about 10 minutes. But yeah, everything past this is kind of a real boss, or at least has a chance to be a real boss. Grabbing puppet storage here. Kind of an odd choice to grab puppet storage here, but you don't need puppet storage here. Like, I don't even think I have that many spare slots to fill. Like, I might have 2 spare slots behind Pecos, but that's it. I believe all. I'm mostly just making these for, like, super later. Also, now is the time to equip both Tacticians and Veteran Pact. That will help you clear Magitumblers, those silly Russian nesting doll looking things. Evil Russian nesting doll looking things. Not that they didn't already kind of look a little bit evil, but I might be horribly paranoid. Oh, I guess I have one in Witch also, so I'm just stuffing here for more damage. Not completely necessary. Swapping out my packs now. Yeah, well, filled out the ranks. It actually looks like I planned that. Huh. Neat. Spoilers. I didn't. Talk to Baggy. He will tell you to go hunt the Numblebee. We have to make sure we do the option, the correct option for the caterpillar, because we don't want to waste time. Right here we're going to be grabbing an important item, working the field status, just generally for progression on your apprentice notes. There's a free item, why not grab it? Frail Pact proving that it is very valuable. Grab that poison guitar because you really do not run into many guitars on this route. Veteran Pact proving to be worth its weight in gold. Except when guard happens. I think this thing guards like 3 times. It made me sad. Skipping ahead, because really Verdant Phenom is mostly walking. Yeah. And mugging poor fairies. Right ahead of me there is a silver spoon. Or a socket silver spoon. Very important to collect these. Saves time later. Oh, YouTube. Why are you never nice to me? I Oh, there's one thing up here that I think I shouldn't mention. Oh, it is actually already behind us. Dang. When you are leaving from the third area to come into this area, crossing the path of the giant pumpkins is actually kind of dangerous because you can get there on a very awkward step counter. So just be wary of that on general principle. I don't think there's any important items between me and the Numblebee. Yeah. And this is the fight that makes tacticians very valuable. Yeah. You're right, I lost my mouse. Moving forward. We're in the miasma. We're watching out for pumpkins, because we don't want to get eaten. Okay, we're gonna do the usual boss thing. Restore our mana, repair any broken parts, equip our people. And we're going to be removing Tactician's Pact and keeping on Veterans. What pact do I put on here? We'll see. Do I just go with a... I probably... Oh, a Magus. Huh. That's an interesting choice. There's more fire. Will be good. You can also use a witch troop. Personal preference. Mage might be a little better, because better bonus damage. But yeah, it counts as very effective. Mage is actually probably the best here. Learned something from watching my own runs. So the Numblebee has, on his first turn, he always uses Pheromone Spray, so you can take that turn to hit him with the spear. However, every turn after that, it can be a bit risky to attack. But if you want to play this the exact same way that I kind of advised playing the Troll Shaman, where you start the fight and you all in until a point, or until your tanks reach a certain HP value, since they are basically made of paper right now. Generally, this isn't a very hard fight, but should you run out of mana, you can put yourself in a really sore spot, since he is just gonna keep stacking his stats. You get the Phalanx Pact. The Phalanx Pact is nice. We use that for a lot of the game. One more thing about Verdant Phenom before it is too far in the rearview mirror. Is that I actually generally return to Verdant Phenom's very first antechamber to acquire a what is it called? A I think it's a Numblebee hive. Some kind of beehive. From the boss fight just before the villager. That is just adds one more clear. It's generally something you want to, like, maybe avoid, but if you're worried about your apprentice notes, it is definitely something you can add in. Like, say you missed both Agent Black and Conquer Leaf, and you want to hopefully make up for it in other ways. The bees that you fight, that are pretty much a forced encounter when you first enter Verdant, have a chance to drop the hive, and if you're lucky, you get it there. I get it like maybe 1 in 3 runs. Yeah, okay. Umbra is one of the more complex dungeons. We got lucky and got Dance of the Dolls on our misclick right there. Dance of the Dolls is something that we generally get at the top of Green Tower. So getting it there just saves a little going out of our way time. Akura, otherwise known as Genie Guy, is a pretty easy fight. I just all in him. Floor 4 is really simple. Right here I'm going to pop my very first Silver Spoon. This is going to stop us from hitting a load of Spartans. And takes this from like what is usually about an 8 to 9 minute split down to like a 5-something minute split. Yeah. And if you got the extra spoon in Campanula, this is definitely a viable option. I actually think that this is... it's better to have a spoon here than on the 7th floor of Rosa Tempest. Although I haven't, like, outright timed them, but it would just be an average anyway. Considering it is all RNG. Encounters are... Getting encounters in Rosa Tempest are just, like, RNG, you do or you don't. Same with this tower. But if you have to make the pick, personally, I would do it here. I just got Umbra Wine, which is actually something I get in the floor right before the top floor of Umbra, when you're playing the game of 1,000 Magical Doors. There is actually an Umbra Wine up there that I usually grab. An Umbra Wine is important for getting the Sage's Key. Also, another item I might have forgotten to mention is right when I first walked in Umbra, I broke the wall on the right and grabbed Cloudy Cream, which is another one of the items required for Sage's Key, is on the direct route to Sage's Key. Riddy, otherwise known as male succubus guy. Oh, yeah. Pretty easy fight. The only real problem with him is, like, mana. He can kind of eat your mana if you don't get any crits. This is a pretty easy fight. Like all of the fights in Umbra, in fact, I light up my teeth earlier. All of the boss fights in Umbra until the Fly Queen are really easy. So I'm actually just going to skip forward. I finished the feet fight. The effect of my Silver Spoon vanishes, but I make it out of that floor. That floor is actually the worst for time loss. Floor 7. It's just so common to get Spartans on that floor, and it just does not feel good. And popping a spoon where I do helps you, your chances of knocking out Umbra in one run. Usually I try to have stacking the XP here On this run, I do not, since, you know, mana values are so horribly random. Just running around grabbing levers right now. Really, really simple stuff. I grabbed a couple of witches' bells. Oh, actually, this is something kind of neat that not everyone might know. Is you can actually remove your pacts to get reinforcements back. So in this run, I had to like actually think about like what my solution here was, because I couldn't get 30 to drop 2 portals, which like my mind was expecting. So I had to go with the Witch's Bell. It took me a while to figure that out, kind of sadly. We're going to go back to the 6th floor, which we dropped a portal at earlier on our way up Red Tower. And that'll get us in Blue Tower. But before that, we are going to equip our peeps. Oh no, we're going to do it in the tower. Okay. Yeah, I do it immediately upon entering the tower. I'm special. And that is where I see that I still have the Furfur's Charms. That I need to dump those into manas very soon. In order to afford Nullify Miasma. Which is pretty much what you want to be saving mana for right after you get Portals 3. Otherwise known as 4 Portals. Blue Tower has some silliness right off the bat. Although I am taking this opportunity. Taking this opportunity to go get Nullify Miasma by disenchanting Furfur's Charms. I think I even end up destroying, I think, the Chastity Belt that I equipped earlier. We destroy Furfur's Charms because they remove luck, and we like luck. Probably don't think I've mentioned it, but every turn, both in a labyrinth and in combat, you have a chance to remove status effects. And that chance is higher with higher luck, which saves a lot of grief in this run. Also, high luck sets us up to use a pact later. The Lucky Pact. You grab the Duchess key there, and that is just for some item whoring while we're down here. Since we kind of have to come down here anyway. Because we are going to be setting up for much, much later. Really about a little over half an hour from now. About 40 minutes. You ideally want to try to avoid as many of these fights as possible. They're nuisance fights. Also remember, if you have to remove your packs in order to get reinforcements, to put your mages in the back line. Yeah. Some of us might not always remember. I have no idea what that button on the wall does. I don't. It might be to the other door in that room. I leave a portal there for Exp Farming later, and I come back to floor 6 and continue my way up Blue Tower. Grab this Brave Owl lamp, since we have the Duchess key anyway. Now we are forcing our way through walls, because fuck your labyrinth. I scooch forward. I've got another fight. Our first switch is 4 steps forward. Usually you can't avoid many of the battles on this floor, sadly. As much as I would love to. The last one is in the last door. And then 4 steps. I took 2 before this battle. Then there will be 2 more. That will be my first switch, and then 1 more after that. We'll make all 4 switches. That's 4. And then 5. And then back. Don't hop in the middle of traffic. Umbra wine. Ooh, let's back this up. Okay, Umbra wine is right up here. For reference, important item. Figured I should point it out. Anyway. Now, I've been wondering if there's a better way to do this floor. I kind of hope there is, but this is the best way that I've come up with so far. It's just kind of following traffic and hitting switches, and following traffic and hitting switches. Talk to Alice there. Alice is a busy person. Yeah, we'll go with person. Yeah, we get her asses stuffed in prison. If you take that exact path, make sure that that switch gets hit and you don't bump the wall. Because if you bump the wall right there, there is an executioner to your left who is ready to show you the business. And that is just time loss. Let's go back a little bit. Not here. Okay. From this point that I'm standing at, once I turn left, I'm going to take 5 steps and drop my portal. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to drop. And then I plow through the wall. So it is exactly 5 steps forward. And that will set up to leave this dungeon. Grab a witch's spell. What a coincidence. I was looking for one. And make sure you go back to floor 1. Right now we have a lot of portals down. Top of Umbra, bottom of Umbra, and like floor 5 of Blue Tower for farming later. Get another Dance of the Dolls. Is in the top of this tower. Grabbing a Phantom Ring. Phantom Ring is pretty important. Phantom Ring is full status effect resistance, including Abyss. And I put those on my tanks because it both gives 100 mana, but also stops them from being Abyss. So in the final fight, that they can't fail their one cast. The only time they cast Donum is the most important Donum of the entire speedrun. So I make sure that doesn't fail. I collect 3 of those during the run. I believe there are only 3 to collect from boxes. And I don't know if they are dropped anywhere, so. We grab a Witch's Spell on that floor. We're going to grab another one here. I'm just stocking up on these, so you can end up in some pretty odd scenarios. I usually grab too many, but I much prefer that to not having enough, especially since you have to use one for a Witch's Apprentice. So right here, I always make sure that if I am stacking in this tower, that I unstack on this fight. That way I can swap packs, because the Fly Queen is on the next floor. And I want the ability to swap my packs before that fight, since I am not set up. I do not like having muddy packs for that fight. I do not think it is good. I also am going to pop a spoon right here. This will stop us from hitting the red Spartans and the blue Spartans. I don't remember the name of the blue ones. It's not Spartan, though. But they just have so much health and they're so fast, and I don't want to deal with their bullshit. So we're going to put on Veteran Pact and Squish a Fly. I like having 2 physical packs here. Along with Frail to poison this thing, and Clear the Flies, and Pecos to just kind of do raw damage. Pecos is probably the only one that is like meh optional. You could trade that out for something. That would be entirely reasonable. But Pecos does good damage, so I don't think it's necessary. Your first turn on this fight, you can attack with your 3 melees, your tanks. However, on the... Well, actually, you can attack through most of this fight until she starts blinking red. When she starts doing Desperate Struggle, that is when you want to start blocking. Otherwise, your mages can be ripped to shreds in 2 turns. You are really under level here. And even though you might not be like the living embodiment of paper anymore, since Furfur gave us items, we're not the epitome of tank either. Right here, I am doing a more conservative strategy, because I'm up like 6 minutes. The only kind of saddening part about, yeah, that is Desperate Struggle. Oh god. Just watching that hurts my soul. Is that you can't really stack the queen when you're using a spoon through here, since you can't unstack. So. Make sure you never stack the queen if you're using a spoon through here is, I guess, the moral of the story. I don't think I've ever got myself caught on that yet, but the spoon routing for this area is pretty new. This is a very important dialogue. Make sure you always hit no on this dialogue and that you play it out. Here we're going to be smashing our way through some walls, grabbing another phantom ring. This is, again, for our tanks later. Setting up for endgame. Some more convenient wall smashing to get to stairs quicker. Ew. Okay. Right when we reach the other end of this. Dance of the Dolls should be like straight from this tile, straight left. Into a set of doors, there should be Dance of the Dolls. It is just another apprentice note that's pretty easy to pick up. Talk to Alice. Make sure you do not click through this dial or fuck up this dialogue. Otherwise, you are fighting Alice if you do anything other than hit affirm. Not sure what I'm doing in my packed menu, other than zoning out. I'm not sure why I'm not just using one of those witches spells. I was trying to get too cute. Yeah. We're going to take our first game over in a second. Or dead end. Talk to Furfur. Make sure when you're disenchanting for souls, which I think I do at least one more time, that you do not destroy Fool's Tarot that Furfur gives you. Fool's Tarot is an apprentice note. Gotta do as many of those as you can. Same thing for pickaxe. If you're doing super early soul disenchantments, don't destroy pickaxes. Unless you've already turned in the one for the pickaxe, then, you know, knock yourself out. Alright. I received lots of EXP, which I could grab a lot sooner than this. And then I start on battle formations. One thing I do forget here is vanish completely from enemies. I think it's vanish completely. There is enough poison inside Rosa Tempest, at least on the 7th floor, to warrant getting Fog Veil. I think I just called it 3 different names. That's not going to be horribly confusing, don't worry about it. We take our game over there. For packs, we're going to... We're yawning. Jeez. We're going to want both tacticians and veterans on again. Very, very useful packs. They smash blocks, and blocks like to burn us. So, we're calling it self-defense. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Or if they do, just, you know, clobber them over the head with the veteran pact. We do a little equipment go right here. It's not necessary. Although putting on the Phantom Rings right here can actually save a little bit of time, since bees really like to inflict status effects, and status effects take time, both when they're being implemented and when they are going off. So, not horrible to put on Phantom Rings there. But I don't think it saves the time of going into your menu and putting them on if that's all you're doing. It looks like I'm setting up for Donum Defense. Although I also look really drunk because I didn't set up for Donum Defense properly. Yeah, I was setting up for Donum Defense there. Oh, actually I was putting... since most of what I'm going to be needing on this floor is guarding and frail pact. That's actually what I was doing. I'm not just think as you drunk I am. Frail pact does a really good job on Rosa Tempest. Rosa Tempest is a lot of memorization. And the first floor is a lot about surviving. Still on the first floor. Is that a first floor block? Oh yeah, it was. Blocks are such unlucky fights to get into. Pretty much the first floor is the longest floor of Rosa Tempest, just because we're going to be skipping most of the others. Depending on whether you got, like, the spare spoon and Campanula or not. For reference, yellow flowers don't like mud. They're the only flowers in the game who have a weakness to mud. So, I usually take my Muddy Pact off here for Tacticians, but considering yellow flowers are the most common in here, keeping it on is not horrible. I personally usually just take Veteran Pact and smash them, but teach their own. I grab a silver spoon there, back there at the start of floor 2, and this is just going to be a lot of walking through. I believe the only items that I go for are silver spoons throughout Rosa Tempest. And I think maybe 2 sets of shoes and maybe a lamp. I believe the lamp's right here. Yeah. Owl lamp. Oh, also, do not forget White Rose back in here. It is in floor 6. Your spoon will probably run out, but yes, it is completely worth it to get that pact. That pact is fantastic. But I have forgotten that pact, and it feels bad. It feels bad. So I think I'm going to actually skip over most of this. It's mostly just running. The only real note that I have here is do not get greedy in here for mana. Yes, the game has starved you for mana, and yes, there's a lot of mana in Rosa Tempest. But it is not worth fucking up your step counter. You will lose minutes just getting greedy for mana. Mark my words. Or beware. Yeah, or beware. Also, sometime during, either before Rosa Tempest, or before, or while you're doing Amadia stuff, remember to scapegoat. Otherwise, you're going to be really sad in the upper floors of Amadius. That is Rose of Tempest complete. "16-minute Rose of Tempest is a bit slow. And after Rose of Tempest is a great time to grab Formation. Just like any of the things that you've been starved for previously. If you don't have finished Formations, pick up Formations. If you want the ability to see mid-tier stuff on the map, pick that up. You know, if you haven't picked up more puppet storage, grab that. This is a really great opportunity to just pick up the things you need. Yeah, right there, make sure to scapegoat. I grab my Formations. I don't need more puppet storage. And I grab avoid enemies altogether. I should have grabbed that before Rose of Tempest, but I wasn't thinking. Then I'm going to go poop some souls. I believe I make some puppets after that. Yep, puppets. I'm taking off Veteran. I'll be putting in Muddy. Muddy is actually an amazing pick for Modius. It kills both crabs and jellyfish really well. A lot of early Amadius is just remembering what portal do I go to, where do I drop my portals, and there is an incense. If you go north of this location, you take the first door on the left, and then you hug the bottom right-hand corner. It would probably be somewhere like up here if I were rubbing the right spot on the minimap. There is Aromatic Incense, and that is required. That is the item required to get Sage's Key. If you did not pick Aromatic Incense up in Rose of Tempest, that is an item that can be picked up in there. And after you get your incense, you're probably going to want to go try to get Sage's Key. And if you can't get Sage's Key, I actually go up and get it. So, I didn't know if this run got it in Rose of Tempest or not. So that is where that is. But yeah, you want to get Sage's Key, or start taking a list of like what items you're going to need to get Sage's Key. Because I have had to fix runs at the end, and it does not feel good. But usually the place you want to go back to is Astrum. Unless you somehow manage to miss one of the really common items from Melm. Things like the Remix. Pretty much anything from Melm that's not Animarus and pickaxes. Because, trying to fight the game for Animarus and pickaxes at the end of your run is how you sob. You will just be sad. So ideally, you'll want to like go back to Astrum, which doesn't feel good either. But the drop rate is much higher on the items you need there. Minus Agent Black. Agent Black can be pretty mean. Okay. Is there anything else? I went over packs. I went over items. No? There's only like one more trick I really should. Silver spoons. There are 3 silver spoons in Amadius. Make sure you grab all 3. And one in the basement. Sorry, 4 spoons. Teehee. I know what I'm doing. There's also lucky packs in the basement. But there is one trick that I learned doing Amadius that I should probably share with people. Oh, okay. I went too far. Okay. It is coming up. Got some golden garlic. Yeah. Not really important unless you get all 3 garlics, which isn't that difficult. Okay. Okay. So I go around this pillar, and from this point, it is 6 forward, 4 to the left, turn left, 5 north, and then 3 east. 4, 5, 3, and then it is just north of this location. But that is the easy set of numbers I've come up with to get through that area, is 6, 4, 5, 3. Making sure you get through Amadeus without tossing yourself into a pit is always really nice. Make sure you have the Lucky Pact on before you go EXP farming. You're going to need about 500k EXP. If you're having trouble with the last boss fight, you can farm a little bit more. But I wouldn't go beyond like 700, personally. I think I would consider anything above 700 waste. But there's one small little bit that I can do for EXP farming. So this is the room. The room that I was just in is the room that you ideally want to farm in. However, to get that room to start spawning, you need to clear every other one of the major spawns like this about twice on average. So that's what you're going to see me do, is run around this entire place about twice before that room starts spawning. And then you can kind of just plop your butt in that room, and it will eventually all just respawn. If you want to watch, like, farming, you know, my VODs are up, so. I can pretty much just fast forward through this, farming being what it is. I believe it's like 14 months of farming. Yeah. And this is where I'm going to get my Sage's Key. And after that, it will be into Campanula 2. Yeah, got my key. Pretty much the only important part. There are 2 important parts of Campanula. The first is using one of your spoons right up here. The other is dropping a portal once you get to the bottom, facing the Great Sage's Pact, for when you get the Furious Key. So, those are your major notes through here. Otherwise, it's just running. There's a nice little shortcut I take here. Turn around, smash the wall. I turn on Veil just because I've already dropped once, and I don't want to collect the loads of poison damage on top of that, in case my spoon wears out earlier than I'm anticipating. But yeah. Ew. Apparently, I fought some slimes over a briefcase. Okay. For the Evil Mass fight, I generally go full defensive with my tanks, and I heal really conservatively with my White Rose Pact, since they can do like a full brigade heal. just whenever I feel the least bit pressured, because you always have to remember that she's going to get 2 turns for every one of yours, and if she just decides to pile driver your ass for like 3 straight turns of, for her is 6 straight turns of pain, you could just lose people left and right. And if you lose anyone in your White Rose Pact, you can no longer heal. You can no longer do brigade heals. Which doesn't feel good, considering you always will go second. You are so horribly underleveled that you will always go second. It has, I believe, a weakness to fire. And resistance to both blunt and mud. And I believe, I don't know if it's pierce or slash that does well, but one does neutral, I'm pretty sure, and the other does pretty well. But the real key there is like fire for my strategy. Here's a good time to make puppets. I always make any puppets here. And a quick jump back to Amadius. I use a spoon on every single basement floor of Amadius, if that wasn't horribly obvious. That is one of the places that I was hoarding spoons for. Dusk and Tanis is just generally something you have to memorize the location of. You also have to take note that you really have to figure out where the stairs go. I guess you could just like straight copy my route, because it is, I think, the most efficient way to get through Dusk and Tanis. I would really like to see someone prove otherwise, because, I think it would hold up. But yeah, Dusk and Tanis, once you get past the really funky stairs, pretty straightforward. You just have to remember to get the Furious key. Because if you forget that, you're going to be a real sad panda right when you walk into the boss room. Is there anything else you grab here? No, it's mostly just quest. There is one thing you can do after you get Furious. If you go back to Astrum 2, there is the Black Cat Lamp. And the Black Cat Lamp is pretty good. But it is backtracking and you don't have to. But it is more firepower if you choose to backtrack to Astrum 2. It's a chest at only maybe 20 seconds to go get. Unsure if it's like saves the time it takes to go get it, but it is a thing and it is there. I might as well say it. Yeah, I pretty much run through here just smashing everything with rocks with my Lucky Pact, since Lucky Pact is just that good. Right now I believe I'm Lucky Frail Pecos. It should be Lucky Frail Pecos and White Rose. That'll generally get me through this dungeon. I will swap before the final boss to put both, I'm going to take out Frail and Pecos, because one is mana inefficient, Pecos, and Frail just does not have enough defensive stats. And I'll end up putting in Muddy and Veteran over those 2 packs. And those 2 are both cheat packs. They have a good constant damage. They are just your very, very low variance packs. You don't have to do any sort of mana conservation. You can just go full retard on the final boss. Yeah. Pretty much as long as you remember to get all of the objective spots and make sure you get Furious Key. It's Dusk and Hannes is pretty easy. There's Furious Key. Also make sure you go actually get the Great Sage's back, because it's real awkward if you don't have that. And then I guess we just go into the final battle. We'll take a good look at my final setup. Make sure you have all of your Phantom Rings equipped at this point. Obviously do an equipment rundown right before you go to the final boss. Also, make sure you've scapegoated. You do not want her critting you more often or with more damage. So that is a good one. Otherwise, yeah. No, it is kind of just slam your face into her while your tank's guard. I do not take a single offensive turn outside of casting the Weakening Donum, which is, I guess, arguable that that's even an offensive turn, but it's not guarding, so I'll mention it. Make sure you cast that first turn, and because you are so abhorrently slow, I don't even take the time to guard with my mages. They won't even get the guard off before Unhindered Baba goes, so if you end up with really persistent Abyss status on any of your characters, it's viable to just take a turn, split up some of your tanks and have one of them drop a Sanity Mirror. It's really unlikely, but this is another fight. I play it a lot like the Evil Mass fight. Really, really conservative. See, I'm healing, and most of my mages are like high health, and I don't heal strictly for my frontline. Also, one thing that I made a mistake about on my frontline is one of my frontliners has a spear instead of a guitar. And ideally you want 6 guitars. It gives better guard chance to intercept attacks meant for your mages. That was just one mistake I did. One of many. But yeah, otherwise you just kind of take this thing out. It probably covers most of the strategy. I'm sure tons of things will hit me right after I've turned off the recording, but that is my preliminary tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to harass me on Discord. I'm always good to talk about this game. Yeah. I hope this helped someone, or at least didn't bore them. Yeah.